This is Megastar Magazine TV.
Hello and welcome to Megastar Magazine TV. My name is Monique Aigbe. In the news, Nigerian government has set aside June 12th in commemoration of the celebration of democracy of the people, by the people and for the people. June 12 was officially designated as Nigeria's Democracy Day in 2018 to honor the annulled 1993 presidential election, widely considered the freest and fairest in the nation's history and won by Chief MKO Abiola. President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, addressed the citizens in joint session of the Senate and the House of Representatives, congratulating citizens on the occasion of 26 years of uninterrupted democratic rule in the country. President of the Dangote Group and founder of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, Aliko Dangote, calls for a major shakedown in the entire country soon. Dangote noted that this was not about price reduction, but the complete overhaul of the downstream sector. He emphasized that President Tinubu's visit has given the organization additional energy that the company would go on a massive trajectory with the refinery. Niger State Governor Mohammed Bagor has directed the Ministry for Land and Survey to issue a certificate of occupancy, CFO, to the federal government. This will be done to facilitate immediate construction of resettlement homes for the victims of the Mokwa flood disaster. The governor gave the directives during the assessment of houses destroyed by the flood in Mokwa, where he addressed the people of the community. Edo State Commander of the NDLEA, Michel Ofoyefu, says the agency arrested 39 suspected drug traffickers in the state. He disclosed this during the presentation of his first monthly operational scorecard in Benin City. The commander emphasized that there is no hiding place for drug traffickers in the state and advised parents and individuals to caution their children, especially the youths. On the foreign scene, several people have been killed in a school shooting in Graz, Austria's second-largest city, which affected teachers and students. Austria's Interior Ministry says there are several fatalities but has not specified how many and promises to take appropriate action. The shooting is a national tragedy that deeply shocks Austria. Prince William has warned the world against ocean diminishing and called on the world to think big on how to revive them. Speaking at the Blue Economy and Finance Forum in Monaco, he said everyone is responsible for change, both negative and positive. The prince emphasized that he remained an optimist and believed that urgency and optimism have the power to bring about the action needed to change the course of history. The FIFA Club World Cup has been transformed ahead of its 2025 edition, with FIFA significantly raising the stakes in terms of both competition and financial incentives. Instead of the traditional 7-team format, this year's tournament will feature a record 32 clubs, bringing together some of the biggest names in the world soccer from every continent. The dramatic increased prize pool, now totaling $1 billion, FIFA aims to elevate the tournament status to one of the most prestigious in global soccer. Portugal won their second UEFA Nations League title after beating Spain 5-4 on penalties at the Allianz Arena in Munich. The inaugural edition of the competition took place between 2018 and 2019, and the tournament has been an interesting one. The Nations League was instituted to make international friendly matches between European countries more competitive. In entertainment, Enugu State government has promised to immortalize the revered folklorist and cultural ambassador who passed away on Friday. The state government expressed sadness over the death of legendary Nigerian music icon, gentleman Mike Ejeagha, one of the finest musicians of his generation. The late Mike Ejeagha was a legend, a cultural ambassador, and a revered son of Enugu State, leaving behind a monumental legacy in the nation's music history. Nigerian rapper Olamide has released a new single titled 99 featuring Asake, Sheyi Vibes, Young John, and Dacom. The body of work was released across streaming platforms despite their distinct music styles. This is also the first collaboration between Olamide and Asake, after the latter recently parted ways with YBNL and established his label named Giron Republic. That has been the news. For more information, follow our social media platforms showing on your screen. Up next is Voices from the Street.
Well, it's good that we are celebrating democracy, but I think for me, what we are more or less celebrating is a civil rule. For us, I think democracy is something we are still headed to. We are still far from it. But it's good to celebrate a civil rule, and there is some progress, and hopefully things don't, well, the societies grow, But in my own honest opinion, I think we're a bit stagnated a bit now in terms of democracy, but we could still get it right. So there's nothing wrong in celebrating, but we also pray and hope and do our part to see that we move the stage where we are now a little forward.
Normally, the democracy they will know, if not that President Mohammed Buhari changed it to June 12th. In terms of democracy day, actually personally me, I'm not really seeing any differences between the democracy and where we are in military era. Because I remember when we are in military era, at least I was then. So now I'm not seeing any differences because when they say democracy is for the people and people, I don't really understand that language. So I'm not seeing any effect on the issue of democracy day. What I understand in terms of democracy, everybody have right to say something. But now you say anything, you'll be in problem. If you write in anything, you'll be in problem. Unlike we're in a military era, military do with command. You understand? So you cannot just talk where they never asked you to talk. But now we say free speech. But when President Buhari came, he said hate speech, which we are, person like me, I've not heard anything about hate speech. I started hearing hate speech from Muhammad Buhari. So I'm not really seeing anything effective in our democracy. Okay, what I will advise our leaders to do in terms of this democracy is, to me, let me put myself in a leadership seat. Assuming I'm in a position, and I know it's not easy, though, but if I'm in a position, I'll go places. You hear from different sources. You understand? Not by President Tinubu now. The only people he's hearing from is people within his range. But at least you have somebody, you have people that go other places. You understand? It's all about Abuja alone. Go other places, see within yourself, witness what people are passing through. When people are complaining, you give them the listening ear. You understand? But taking position, taking command, as if we are still in military era, it didn't give people that room to express their feelings. You understand? So that is why I'm saying each issue of democracy, I'm not seeing the effect in us. So I'm advising the leaders to give the poor masses, the chance for them to speak their mind. At least not by insulting. At least when you give somebody listening ear, you pick points from 1 or 2, 3 people, you understand their pains, you feel their pain, they will really put you as a leader, not as a ruler. So that is what I'm advising them.
We are not really practicing democracy because democracy is about election. Our electoral system is not good. We don't elect the people who want to elect. It is all about money and how you can manipulate to win the election. That is what is killing the democracy. So when you get there, you know that really people are not the one that elected you. It's when our electoral system is right, so that you vote somebody, person that the masses voted to will win. That's when we are going. Because if the person refuses to do what they want, they will hold the person accountable. But in a situation whereby you went and do voting and the vote did not count, they declare anybody the winner. What do you expect? At my age, and I've followed the election in Nigeria, I see that most of the times, the real people that people voted for doesn't win. It is the people that has, that know the INEC anyway. Let me use that word. People that have their way through the INEC that wins election in Nigeria. The last time we did a real election in Nigeria is during that, which year was that? That open ballot, option, is it option A4? Open secret ballot system. I voted, I lined up. You see people, you say if somebody is winning, you will know. But this time around, they just declare any name, anyone they want. And that's the way we're having issue. So even when they manipulated the election, that's why they will even be the one to tell you to go to court. But I know that we are not going to, the courts will just collect money and declare who they want. So this country, I'm just weeping for my children because I don't think there's any need for giving any advice to the leaders because they are not going to follow it. The only way we hold people accountable in the most democratic countries in the world is to protest. Say this is no. We say no to this. But in Nigeria, we are not allowed to protest. In fact, even before you come to protest, police will first warn you that you should not come out. And if you come out, apart from if you come out, your life may go for it. I want election to be free and fair. And there was system so that if we can run a clear election, then we have a senators and all these things. Those people that say there will be what they call a separation of power. Understand? The executive will make a law in such a way that the executive should not be the one appointing chief judge and the IG of police and the rest of them, and even the INEC, the umpire. The executive is the one that to appoint umpire. How would you think that such election will be free and fair?
Democracy is not what we think right now. They have turned everything upside down. And normally we know that democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. This time around, few people have hijacked the democracy. We are no longer in a democracy. We feel like we are still in the military rules. So we don't have a say. The election is not being counted. People's voices are not being heard. So we are not, I can't say democracy is real in Nigeria at large. My advice is that they should allow people to choose a leader, by themselves. Elections should be free and fair so that we can have a good governance in this country. They should also allow poor to have their says. Because few people now, they are now the one in power. So the majority are suffering in this country, while the few are taking the glory. So right now, I want them to, want the government to include the poor so that we can reason together, we can have a good governance in this country. So that is my advice to the leaders.
This is Megastar Magazine TV.